Something is happening inside your legs right now that nobody has bothered to explain to you clearly. Not your doctor at your last annual visit. Not the wellness articles you've been reading. Not the generic advice to stay active and drink more water. Nobody has sat down with you and said, here's the real reason your legs feel the way they do, and here's exactly what you can eat to change it. So that's what we're doing today. Because if your legs feel heavy by mid-afternoon, if your feet go cold at night even when the rest of you is warm, if you get that dull cramping ache after walking a few blocks, that's not just aging. That's your vascular system sending you a very specific distress signal. And once you understand what that signal actually means, you'll realize you have far more control over this than anyone has ever told you. Let's start with the biology, because this is where everything clicks into place. After the age of 60, your body begins producing significantly less of a molecule called nitric oxide. Now, if you haven't heard of nitric oxide, that's actually part of the problem, because this molecule is one of the most important things your cardiovascular system makes, and most people have never been told it exists. Nitric oxide is produced by the cells lining the inside of your blood vessels. Its entire job is to keep those vessels relaxed, flexible, and wide open so blood can flow through freely. Think of it as the signal your body sends to its own plumbing to say, stay loose, stay open, let everything through. When you're young, your body produces plenty of it. Your circulation hums along. Your legs get oxygen. Your muscles get fuel. Waste products get cleared out efficiently. Everything works the way it's supposed to. But here's what changes after 60. The cells that produce nitric oxide, your endothelial cells, become less efficient. Your blood vessels start to stiffen. The walls thicken slightly. The inner diameter narrows. And blood that used to flow to your feet and calves like water through a wide pipe now has to squeeze through something more like a garden hose with a partial kink in it. The result? Cold feet. Heavy legs. Cramping. That feeling like your lower limbs are working twice as hard just to do normal things. And over time, if this goes unaddressed, the consequences get more serious. Peripheral artery disease. Nerve damage. Increased fall risk. Wounds that heal slowly. Complications that doctors will absolutely tell you are just part of getting older. But here's the thing, and this is genuinely important. The decline in nitric oxide production is not simply an irreversible feature of aging. It's a process that is significantly influenced by what you eat. Certain foods provide your body with the raw materials it needs to produce more nitric oxide. Others actively damage the endothelial cells responsible for making it. And most people over 60 are eating the wrong ones without realizing it. Now here's where this gets genuinely interesting, because the foods that help aren't exotic superfoods you've never heard of. They're not expensive supplements. Most of them are completely ordinary things you've walked past in the grocery store 100 times. The difference is knowing which ones matter, why they matter, and how to use them. Let's go through them. The first food group that makes a dramatic difference is nitrate-rich vegetables, and at the top of that list sits beetroot. Beets are remarkable in a very specific way. They contain some of the highest natural concentrations of dietary nitrates found in any food. When you eat or drink beets, those nitrates travel into your saliva, where bacteria on your tongue begin converting them into nitrites. Those nitrites then pass into your stomach and bloodstream, where they're converted into nitric oxide. The entire process, from eating the beet to having more nitric oxide circulating in your blood, takes roughly 2 to 3 hours. Research published in respected cardiovascular journals has shown that dietary nitrates from beets can improve blood flow to the lower limbs meaningfully after consistent daily use. Arterial stiffness decreases. Flow-mediated dilation, which is essentially how well your arteries expand in response to blood flow, improves. Walking endurance goes up. The cramping and claudication pain that makes walking feel like a punishment begins to ease. 8 ounces of pure beetroot juice in the morning, on an empty stomach, is the most direct way to get this benefit. But if you prefer whole food sources, roasted beets added to a salad, beet slices on a sandwich, or even beet powder stirred into water all deliver meaningful amounts of dietary nitrate. The key is consistency. One glass once a week won't move the needle. Daily use over 2 to 4 weeks is where the real change happens. One practical note: some people find that after starting beetroot juice, their urine turns pink or red. This is called bituria. It's completely harmless, and it happens in roughly 1 in 8 people. It's just the pigment from beets passing through your system. It's not blood, and it's not a problem. Now, if you want to take the nitrate approach even further, there's another vegetable that almost nobody talks about in this context: arugula. Arugula has one of the highest dietary nitrate concentrations of any leafy green, and it's far more versatile than people realize. The peppery taste that some people find off-putting is almost completely masked when you blend 2 cups of arugula with a cup of blueberries, half a banana, and a cup of unsweetened almond milk. What you end up with is a smoothie that tastes like blueberries and delivers a significant nitric oxide boost within a couple of hours. The blueberries in that recipe aren't just there for taste, by the way. They contribute something valuable in their own right. Blueberries are rich in compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep blue color. Anthocyanins have been studied extensively for their effects on vascular function, and the evidence consistently shows they help reduce inflammation in blood vessel walls, improve the elasticity of arteries, and support the overall function of your endothelium. A diet consistently high in anthocyanin-rich foods is associated with better cardiovascular outcomes, better circulation, and reduced arterial stiffness, particularly in older adults. Blueberries are the most convenient source, but dark cherries, blackberries, and purple grapes all carry meaningful amounts of the same compounds. These aren't drugs. They don't act instantly. But eaten consistently, a cup of berries a day, several times a week, they contribute to an environment in your blood vessels where circulation works better. The third food category that deserves serious attention is leafy greens more broadly: spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and particularly celery. Celery is an interesting case because it spent several years buried under a cloud of oversold wellness claims that made a lot of skeptical people dismiss it entirely. Strip away the hype, and what remains is genuinely useful. Celery contains natural nitrates and a compound called phthalides, which research suggests may help relax the smooth muscle in blood vessel walls, reducing resistance and allowing blood to flow more freely. A large glass of fresh celery juice, about 16 ounces, delivers a meaningful dose of nitrates, and on an empty stomach, absorption is significantly better than if you eat it with a heavy meal. The taste is polarizing. It's earthy, slightly salty, and not particularly pleasant to most people. But if you're serious about improving your leg circulation and you want an affordable daily option that doesn't involve buying bottles of juice, fresh celery and a decent juicer are a worthwhile investment. Moving into the fourth category, and this one surprises people, is unsweetened cocoa. Not hot chocolate. Not chocolate milk. Pure, unsweetened cocoa powder dissolved in hot water or warm milk with no added sugar. Real cocoa, the kind that hasn't been heavily processed, contains compounds called flavanols. These flavanols trigger a specific biochemical pathway that increases nitric oxide production in your endothelial cells. The effect is relatively fast, with some studies showing measurable improvements in blood flow within 2 hours of consumption. The research on cocoa flavanols and vascular function is genuinely solid. Multiple well-designed studies have found that regular consumption of high flavanol cocoa improves flow-mediated dilation, reduces blood pressure, and decreases arterial stiffness. The therapeutic dose tends to be in the range of about 500 to 700 milligrams of flavanols per day, which you can reach with roughly 2 to 3 tablespoons of good quality cocoa powder. If you find it unpalatable without sweetener, and most people do, a small amount of stevia or monk fruit extract adds sweetness without affecting blood sugar. That matters because adding regular sugar to your cocoa would work against you. Sugar causes endothelial dysfunction, damages the very cells responsible for producing nitric oxide, and contributes to the arterial stiffness you're trying to reverse. So keep the cocoa pure. The fifth food worth building into your daily routine is something most people already have in their spice drawer: garlic. Garlic contains a sulfur compound called allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped and then given a few minutes to sit before cooking. Allicin and its byproducts have been shown in multiple studies to stimulate nitric oxide production, reduce blood pressure, and improve blood flow. Aged garlic extract, which is garlic that has been fermented over a period of months, appears to be particularly effective for vascular function, and it's available as a supplement if raw garlic doesn't agree with your digestion. For practical daily use, 2 to 3 cloves of fresh garlic crushed and added to food, soups, stir-fries, roasted vegetables, salad dressings, provides a meaningful and consistent dose. The key detail most people miss is the crushing or chopping step, and then waiting 5 to 10 minutes before cooking. Heat destroys allicin if you add garlic directly to a hot pan without that resting period. Crush it, let it sit, then add it. That small change preserves most of the compound you actually want. Sixth on the list, and this brings us to something you drink rather than eat, is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus is made from the dried petals of the hibiscus flower, it's deeply red, it tastes tart and slightly cranberry-like, and it has a remarkably well-documented effect on vascular function. Studies have found that regular hibiscus tea consumption reduces blood pressure and improves arterial flexibility. The mechanism involves the organic acids and anthocyanins in hibiscus affecting the endothelium, the same inner lining of your blood vessels we talked about earlier. 2 cups a day, steeped for about 10 minutes in hot water, is a simple and inexpensive habit that costs almost nothing and builds real vascular benefits over 2 to 4 weeks. Hibiscus does have one important caution: it can lower blood pressure meaningfully. If you're already on blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor before making this a daily habit, because the combination can push blood pressure lower than is safe. The seventh and final food category is one that operates by a slightly different mechanism, and that's omega-3 fatty acids, primarily from fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring all contain EPA and DHA, the forms of omega-3 that your body uses most efficiently. These fats reduce inflammation throughout your vascular system, improve red blood cell flexibility, which means those cells can squeeze through narrow capillaries more easily, and have been shown to reduce triglycerides and improve the overall lipid environment in your blood. Inflammation in blood vessel walls is one of the primary reasons circulation deteriorates after 60. It's not just about nitric oxide, it's about the chronic, low-grade inflammatory state that damages endothelial cells, promotes plaque buildup, and contributes to the arterial stiffening that makes your legs feel the way they do. 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week provides enough omega-3 to meaningfully counter that inflammation. If fish isn't realistic for you, a high-quality omega-3 supplement derived from fish oil or algae is a reasonable alternative. Look for one that provides at least a combined 1 gram of EPA and DHA per day. Before we get to the practical guide on putting this all together, just a quick reminder that everything in this video is educational. It's not a substitute for medical advice, and if you have cardiovascular disease, diabetes, kidney issues, or any condition that affects your circulation, please talk to your doctor before making significant dietary changes. These foods are safe for most people, but your specific situation matters, and your physician is the right person to guide you through anything that feels uncertain. Now let's talk about how to actually use this in daily life, because knowing what to eat is one thing, having a simple, sustainable routine is something else entirely. The most effective approach is to build your day around 2 anchor habits and then add what you can from there. Anchor habit 1, a glass of pure beetroot juice every morning, on an empty stomach, before you eat anything else. 8 ounces. Just beets, nothing added. This alone, done consistently, will begin improving your leg circulation within about 2 weeks of daily use. Your feet will feel warmer. The cramping will ease. The heaviness in your calves will start to lift. It's not instant, nothing real ever is, but it's consistent and cumulative. Anchor habit 2, incorporate nitrate-rich vegetables into at least 1 meal every day. This doesn't have to be complicated. Arugula on a sandwich. Spinach in scrambled eggs. Roasted beets in a salad. Celery sticks as a snack. Garlic in whatever you're cooking for dinner. These are ordinary food choices that collectively keep your nitric oxide production supported throughout the day. From there, you can layer in the other foods based on what appeals to you and what you'll actually stick with. Hibiscus tea in the evening is an easy addition that takes about 2 minutes to prepare. A small serving of berries with breakfast adds anthocyanins without much effort. 2 cups of unsweetened cocoa drink in the afternoon, using real cocoa powder, not processed mixes, gives you flavanol support and a warm, satisfying drink that most people actually enjoy once they find the right preparation. Fatty fish twice a week takes care of the omega-3 side of things. Here's what you can realistically expect from this approach. Within 3 to 5 days of consistent beetroot juice consumption, most people notice that their feet feel less cold. Within 1 to 2 weeks, the heaviness and cramping in the legs typically starts to diminish. Within 3 to 4 weeks of the full dietary approach, the nitrate-rich vegetables, the berries, the cocoa, the fish, you'll likely notice improved walking endurance. Your legs won't tire as quickly. The aching that used to start after half a block will extend to 2 blocks, then 4. These aren't dramatic overnight transformations. They're steady, real improvements that compound over time. One mistake worth specifically flagging: using mouthwash immediately before or after consuming nitrate-rich foods and drinks. Your mouth bacteria play an active role in the nitrate to nitric oxide conversion pathway. Antibacterial mouthwash kills those bacteria. If you use mouthwash right after drinking beetroot juice or celery juice, you significantly reduce the effectiveness. If you use mouthwash at all, do it at a different time of day, not within an hour of your nitrate-rich foods. Another common mistake is expecting these foods to compensate for everything else. They won't. If you're sedentary, smoking, eating a diet heavy in processed foods and added sugars, and sleeping poorly, these 7 foods will help, but they won't overcome all of that. They work best as part of a lifestyle where you're also moving your body regularly, even gentle walking or seated leg exercises, and minimizing the foods that actively damage your blood vessels. Refined sugar, trans fats, and heavily processed foods cause endothelial dysfunction. They literally impair the cells that produce the nitric oxide you're trying to restore. You can't eat your way into better circulation with one hand while undermining it with the other. What you can do, starting today, starting with the next time you go to the grocery store, is begin shifting the balance. Add the beetroot juice. Add the arugula. Swap the hot chocolate packet for real cocoa powder. Pick up some fresh garlic. Add a bag of hibiscus tea to your cart. These are small, inexpensive choices. None of them require a prescription or a specialist appointment or a significant life overhaul. They just require knowing that these things matter and deciding to actually use them. Your circulation isn't a fixed thing. It's dynamic. It responds to what you give it. And after 60, the inputs matter more than they ever have, because your body has less margin for error and fewer years of momentum to coast on. The choices you make now, consistently, over weeks and months, determine whether your legs feel like they belong to a 70-year-old who gave up, or to someone who decided to actually take care of themselves. You already took the first step by watching this. The next step is the grocery store. If this gave you a genuinely different way of thinking about what's happening in your body, and what you can actually do about it, stick around. This is exactly what I do here. Real science, explained in plain language, translated into things you can actually use in your daily life. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and leave a comment below telling me which of these 7 foods you're going to try first. I read every single one.